Waxahachie, Texas is a city that we're doing a deep dive on today. We're looking at Waxahachie's history, what it's like to live in Waxahachie, and we're also going to take this opportunity to check out the affordability, the lifestyle, and Waxahachie real estate. This in-depth approach is going to allow us to compare the city of Waxahachie to other Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex cities. So if you've been thinking of moving to Waxahachie or simply want to learn more about the city, then this video is for you because we're covering everything you need to know about Waxahachie, Texas. Waxahachie is located 35 miles south of Dallas, which is the southernmost point that we're going to get to on this channel. Now, when it comes to accessing major highways, Waxahachie is very well positioned. You have US Highway 287 crossing diagonally, then you have Interstate 35 East running north to south, as well as Highway 77 running north to south, cutting right through the heart of Waxahachie. Now, if you want to go to Fort Worth to check out the stockyards, give yourself at least 40 minutes. And if you want to go to downtown Dallas to check out the Dallas Stars, you're looking at 35 minutes. And of course, if you need to catch a flight at the DFW International Airport, you're looking at 45 minutes. Now, I share these heavily frequented locations because at one point or another, if you're gonna live in Waxahachie, you're gonna go to Fort Worth, you're going to go to Dallas, and you're going to catch a flight. But to give you a better perspective on what the commute looks like for Waxahachie residents, know that the average commute is 26.2 minutes, which is actually 2 minutes less than the DFW average of 28 minutes. So with the average commute being less than the DFW average, what this is telling us is that while a lot of people do commute into DFW, at least the downtown areas, you have a lot of people staying in the city of Waxahachie and working. So in other words, Waxahachie is not only a commuter suburb into Fort Worth and to Dallas. Waxahachie, Texas is located in Ellis County and is a historic city with a rich heritage. In fact, early settlers can be dated back to the mid-1800s. The city itself was named after Waxahachie Creek, which flows through the area. And the city gained so much traction early on that in the early 1900s, it was one of the largest cities in Texas, largely in part due to the establishment of several large businesses that revolved around agriculture and factories. And fast forwarding to today, Waxahachie has more than 43,000 residents, which enjoy a vibrant downtown area that includes a variety of shops, restaurants, and many historical buildings. Now, to add some additional context to the city of Waxahachie, I want to introduce an external resource in niche.com, which interprets millions of public data sets on cities all across the country. And as you can see, Waxahachie has received an A- grade from Niche, having aggregated the 12 categories you see on the screen. And Waxahachie is also ranked as the 4th best place to live in Ellis County. Now, that's what the algorithm has to say. But what do current and former residents have to say about the city? Well, according to the average of 118 reviews so far, Waxahachie residents give Waxahachie 4.5 stars out of 5. So as you might have noticed, Waxahachie has a favorable rating, not only from an outsider's perspective, but also from an insider's point of view. So for the full report on Waxahachie, make sure to check out the link down below. But now let's check out the recreation scene in Waxahachie. The city of Waxahachie has 18 parks spread out throughout the city, but given its larger geographical footprint, only 23% of Waxahachie residents live within a 10-minute walk of a park, which is less than half than the national average of 55%. Now, in all fairness, that stat is a little bit deceiving given Waxahachie's unique position. Waxahachie still has some of the best recreation around. You have Lake Waxahachie down to the south, and throughout the year you have plenty of events, parades, and festivals to attend. But now let's look at a very important criteria for every homeowner, and that's the school situation. Because regardless if you have kids or not, it impacts you directly, because it impacts your property taxes directly, your resale values, and also the amount that you pay in rent. Because with more renowned school systems, you have more demand. Thus, home values go up and so do rents. Waxahachie's independent school district's enrollment at the current moment is over 10,000 students, which as you can see is on an upswing. You have 9 elementary schools, 3 junior high schools, 2 high schools, 1 alternative high school, and 1 kindergarten academy. Now, a very important and overlooked stat is the amount of employees in the ISD in relation to the amount of people in the city. So as you can see, there's over 1,600 employees working for the ISD, which is a large percentage of the 40,000 residents. And something else to note is that the average years of teacher experience is 12.1, which is higher than you'll find in the rest of the DFW area. You're going to find many schools there with less than 10 years of average experience. And when it comes to student per teacher ratio, you're looking at 13.5, which is better than the state average of 15:1. Now, given that I'm a real estate agent, there's certain things that I'm not able to share when it comes to the ISD. So I'll link a full report on Waxahachie ISD down below for your review. But something that I am able to talk about a little bit more freely is the Chick-Fil-A situation. So we have to ask ourselves, is there a Chick-Fil-A in Waxahachie? And thankfully, I can report that there is a Chick-Fil-A. Now I get it. Chick-Fil-A may not be as important for you as it is for me, but I still think it's wildly important. But I'll admit it may not be as important as our next category, which is real estate, because regardless if you're a homeowner or you're renting, it impacts you directly. So let's start off from a macro perspective. The median home value in Waxahachie is $385,921, which this is after an astounding 26.1% rise over the past year, which is one of the highest jumps in the DFW area, by the way. And while we knew that the home values over the last decade were going up, nothing could have prepared us for what happened last year. So if you've been patiently waiting on the sidelines for prices to come down before you purchased, well, with Waxahachie, you may have to wait a little bit longer than the rest of the DFW area. At some point, the Waxahachie real estate prices will stabilize, but it's going to take a little bit longer for Waxahachie to do it than the rest of the DFW is already experiencing. But now that we know that the median home value is $386,000, let's compare that value to the surrounding cities. The median home value in Red Oak is $375,000. In Oak Leaf, it's $455,000. In Pecan Hill, it's $385,000. In Midlothian, it's $474,000. In Ovilla, it's $512,000. And the median home value in Ennis is $254,000. So as you might have noticed, the median home value in Waxahachie is right on par with the surrounding cities. But let's take it one step further. How much home can you actually buy for that $386,000 presently in Waxahachie? Now those are some awesome houses. Unfortunately, by the time you're watching this video, chances are those homes have already sold. So for the most current list of our preferred homes here in Waxahachie, check out the link down below, which now is a great time to share with you how to calculate your monthly mortgage payment for a home in Waxahachie. So check out this video right here that's gonna help you do that, which is mandatory watching, especially if you're coming in from out of state, because the way that we do property taxes is way different than the way that most states do, given that we have some of the highest property tax rates in the country. But let's be fair and not forget that there is no state income tax here in Texas, which is actually a great lead into our next category, which is the cost of living. Overall, the cost of living in Waxahachie is 2% higher than the national average. But when you isolate housing, you see that it's 6% less. From a utilities perspective, you're paying 10% more. On groceries, you're paying about 2% less. And on transportation, you're paying 10% less than the national average. So at this point, you might be thinking, Jaime, Waxahachie sounds like the perfect city for me. If that's you, congratulations. I invite you to connect with our top realtors, link down below. But if you're still on the fence, that's okay too. I want to give you two comparable cities to consider. I want you to check out Midlothian, and I also want you to check out the city of Burleson. But under no circumstances should you check out the city of